Code blue. Code blue. Saba blue. Where you dead? Where you?
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency. 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 The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
I tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They're all liars.
What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very with you. All of them.
Don't argue with me. This is my show. Okay? This is my show. I don't allow anybody to defend my show. This is my show. Okay? You can get the heck out of this room. Baba, this is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't my duty.
I am saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves. Abba!
Code blue. Saba blue. Where you dead? Where you?
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency. The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
I tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They're all liars.
What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very with you. All of them.
Don't argue with me. This is my show. Okay? This is my show. I don't allow anybody to defend my show. This is my show. Okay? You can get the heck out of this room. Baba, this is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't my duty.
I am saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves. Abba!
Code blue. Saba blue. Where you dead? Where you?
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency. The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
I tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They're all liars.
What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very with you. All of them.
Don't argue with me. This is my show. Okay? This is my show. I don't allow anybody to defend my show. This is my show. Okay? You can get the heck out of this room. Baba, this is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't my duty.
I am saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves. Abba!
Code blue. Saba blue. Where you dead? Where you?
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency. The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
I tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They're all liars.
What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very with you. All of them.
Don't argue with me. This is my show. Okay? This is my show. I don't allow anybody to defend my show. This is my show. Okay? You can get the heck out of this room. Baba, this is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't my duty.
I am saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves. Abba!
Code blue. Saba blue. Where you dead? Where you?
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency. The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They're all liars.
What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very with you. All of them, okay?
Don't argue with me. This is my show, okay? This is my show. I don't allow anybody to defend my show. This is my show. This is my show, okay? You can get the heck out of this room. Baba, this is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't handle my duty.
I am saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves. Abba!
Code Blue. Sala Blue. Where you there now? Where you
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency. The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
I tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They're all liars.
What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very with you. All of them, okay?
Don't argue with me. This is my show, okay? This is my show. I don't allow anybody to defend my show. This is my show. This is my show, okay? You can get the heck out of this room. Baba, this is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't handle my duty.
I am saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves. Abba!
All right, guys. How you doing, guys? This is Code Blue in Nigeria, and this is Sala Blue. I almost went to the show again without actually saying nothing, and because you can hear me, my mic was turned off. That's why you need to have somebody who the control room who monitors this. All right, I'm here live, Code Blue in Nigeria, and this is Sala Blue. Okay, we're here for you again. See, Nigerian protesters are completely confused. They don't really know what they want. And that really gets me. You know, part of the agenda of these particular protests that is going nowhere is to return to the oil subsidy, right? And part of it is also a regime change. This is exactly why, from the start, I already say this protest is going nowhere but fail. Right? Now this guy here, right? This guy. Remember the last time when Oshomole on the Rise News said he doesn't know who Adeyanju, DJ Adeyanju is. Okay, this is DJ Adeyanju right here. I'm sorry, this guy right here. That is DJ Adeyanju. You know, a very close pal. You know, with Omoyele Sowore. You know, in the same agenda. Birds of a feather flocking together. You see, they have the same pattern. Clueless, completely don't really know what they're doing. Okay, now look, I have reason for saying it. When you have protesters basically attacking Dangote refinery, when all the government refinery through NNPC has done nothing good in Nigeria but to steal your money, spend lavishly on this refinery that is going nowhere, that hasn't been accomplishing anything. How many times have you had the NNPC telling you that the Port Harcourt refinery will be actively producing by now? Yet we're still expecting that to happen. But then you have all that NNPC project not going anywhere, wasting Nigerian money, stealing all our money. And then you have this guy who call himself an activist, open his pot, dirty mouth, and say this.
Aliko Dangote is a shameless guy. He uses Nigerian money to become African richest man every year. He has killed so many businesses. So I don't know why he's now crying. He does not like competition. So
okay, I'll stop right there. Probably I'll play it again so you can hear exactly what he said.
Aliko Dangote is a shameless guy.
Right?
He uses Nigerian money to become African richest man every year.
Okay, I'll stop right there. When you have a fool like this, calling himself an activist, he has all the information of how much NNPC and all its cabal have stolen from Nigeria, has all the information how much Buhari and Tinubu government have wasted on the Port Harcourt refinery, refinery, and all the stupid, useless refinery. And this guy here opened its dirty pot mouth to call Dangote a useless man. A guy who has actually used his money, because if he goes to UK, Panama, to keep that money there, none of you can do shit about it. But instead of him keeping that money outside of the country, he invested the money in a So Aliko Dangote, instead of actually keeping his money outside of Nigeria in a foreign bank account, he invested that money in Nigeria on the Nigerians. But useless guy like this one can call him useless because his forefathers have been stealing the money anyway. When you see some of these protesters actually acting like they are fighting for you guys, this is what really gets me, because you guys are so deluded into following into their trend. What would you think make any of these protesters to be chanting return to the fuel subsidy? Why do you think it would be anything important to hunger in Nigeria for the protesters to be calling on return to the subsidy? It's simple. One reason would be because they are dumb. They don't know exactly what they are asking for. They're just too delusional, like stupid enough not to know what oil subsidy has, how much oil subsidy has damaged Nigeria. And then they are asking for the return of oil subsidy because they are dumb. The second reason would be that they are actually working for these cabals. Either one of these reasons is not good for you average Nigerians. But anyway, you follow these fools like moron, like zombies. You listen to them, you let them rally you, and then take you to the streets where many of you lose lives simply because you're fighting not for your cause, not for your agenda, but for theirs. For theirs agenda. For their agenda. Many of these fools have been paid by the cabals to be screaming at the top of their lungs for the return of the fuel subsidy. Now, this show today is to explain deeply to you guys how damaging the fuel subsidy is, especially in Nigeria or in Africa. You know, many of the things you're going to see today is not going to be from my word. I'll play so many videos of experts and people from the inside of the cabal. From inside of the cabal that have been stealing your money through the oil subsidy. Confessing, literally confessing that, look, we've made enough. Just stop the subsidy. But then fools like these and some other fools who are leading the protests are calling for that subsidy to return. Two reasons. Either they're dumb, just too dumb to realize that subsidy is not a friend of any Nigerian. Or perhaps my second reason, you get paid from this cabal to push narratives of a return of subsidy. And then these lousy mouths here, this is the same the Jihadi that Rufai Oseni was suggesting to Omoyele Sowore if he knows. He says this.
Aliko Dangote is a shameless guy. He uses Nigerian money to become African richest man every year.
And yet, when he says something like this, you think he is actually working for you, common people on the streets, right? He's an activist. Mumu. He's not working for you. He's not working for any common man on the street who is crying of hunger. This damn idiot is working for himself. He's working for himself. Many of these top guys in these particular protests who are making the move have been paid by the same cabal who has been eating you dry in Nigeria through the oil subsidy. So today, I will analyze what this oil subsidy has been doing to you. I mean, I've said it before. It's just that some of you need more. So I will give you more. Earlier, I've told you that this oil subsidy, Nigeria just don't have any money to maintain it anymore. It's as simple as that. But there are other reasons that are more important than just paying for this fuel subsidy. Yes, the fuel subsidy, for certainty, has been able to help reduce the amount you pay for the pump price of fuel in Nigeria. But I will give you one basic example. Here is Sala Blue. Okay? I took money from Nigerian government. Example, okay? Hypothetical, okay? So don't accuse me of taking any money from Nigerian government. This is just hypothetical, okay? Some of you who don't know what that is, this is just an example to illustrate to some people like a carpenter how things work, okay? Let's just imagine I got 100 million naira from Nigerian government, okay, to cushion the fuel subsidy. You know what? Don't let me use fuel subsidy. Let me just use food to buy guguru and akara, moi, jollof rice, amala, eba, inyo, and put all these food together and distribute to Nigerians who are hungry. That is Ala Blue. He gave me 100 million. Okay? Now, I look around, left and right. Nobody is watching. What did I do? I took about 90 million naira out of the 100 million. Remaining how much? 10 million. And I used the 10 million to distribute food for now. You know why? I pocketed 90 million. Nigerians, as deluded as we are, we will be happy because now I spent 10 million to buy food for everybody. Even if somebody is telling you that this guy who just bought you food with 10 million has actually pocketed about 90 million. You say, hey, who cares? The food is cheap anyway. The food is free anyway. And you will wallow yourself and wallow your future. So the idea right now is that rather than using this money to pay for subsidy, let's put it back into the society so that at the end of the day, people, regular human beings in Nigeria will be empowered. So that Sahara Blue, the hypothetical Sahara Blue, will not be stealing 90 million, but all the money will be going to the society. That's what this current government is trying to do. But then, people who are dangerous, who has been stealing from you, who has been eating you dry, are now fighting back. They are fighting back. Because this is what they do with fuel subsidy money. They will create a phony company, a company that doesn't have any footing, no capital, nothing at all. More or less, a company that doesn't exist. Yeah, because they have all their agency within the NNPC and some government officials together with some foreign idiots who never stop stealing from Nigeria, stealing from Africa. All of these fools will collide together and build a caricature company, a figurative company, just to be able to steal from Nigeria. Then they apply for the fuel subsidy. And then they will list several pipelines they own on paper, but not in real life. None of these pipelines exist. But they will tell government, who will not vet them anyway, and who will have insiders. Even if they are attempting to vet them, some of these insiders will slip the paper in here and there and mess things up for auditors. And so no one will be able to spot it. Okay? They will slip in paperwork for these useless, non-existing companies, and they will be taking fuel subsidy. That same fuel subsidy that you fool think is working for you, that you think they are spending on you, nah, they are taking it under the table to pay for fuel subsidy to non-existing companies. Companies that has no existence at all. And they will take that money and just spend it, lavish on themselves and their family. So can you now imagine my pain that the same Nigerians who this current administration is trying to say is now calling for fuel subsidy and a change of regime? You think you know it all, but you know nothing. Because the real problem that Nigeria has is fighting back. The cabal are fighting back. And they're using these kids to derail everything that this current administration is trying to do. I'm not an apologist for Tinubu, but I monitor every damn thing he's doing. And I can assure you, with what I've seen so far, this is the first time a president or an administration is actually standing up for the people. But the cabal are fighting back. And it's very easy for them to use morons like the Oju and Omoyele Sowore, who have been the face of activism in Nigeria. As long as they shook them with money on their throats, whatever they tell you, you believe it anyway, because you have been believing them since when? Not knowing that what they do is basically cash out on you guys. cash out on you guys. Some of you obedience, you like to say, oh, that Peter Obi. Huh? You would like to say Peter Obi. We have a plan in place before removing the fuel subsidy. The same Peter Obi who vowed from the outset, to remove the fuel subsidy from day one. From day one. What are we even talking about? I'll play the video to you. I'll play his interview, his famous interview on a town hall. Okay? He conducted a town hall during the election where he vowed to remove the subsidy day one. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing that Tinubu did. Peter Obi promised and vowed to remove the fuel subsidy from day one. A carbon copy of what Tinubu administration did. There you go.
Our question has to do with the issue of removal of fuel subsidy. Considering that this current administration has said that by June 2023, the subsidy will be removed, is it going to be your priority in your first 100 days in office? How sustainable is subsidy to the Nigerian economy? Thank you.
Remember, the questionnaire was actually asking for the first 100 days. Pay attention to his answer. Please, please, obedient. And all these people who like to spew nonsense here and there, pay attention to Peter Obi's response.
Thank you, Glenn.
Well done. But I can assure you, it will go immediately.
Okay, he said it will go immediately. Yeah, you can translate immediately to be first 100 days or the first 1 month, even 6 months is still immediately, considering how long fuel subsidy has already been implemented in place in Nigeria. But that's not it. He specifically mentioned to remove it day one. Listen.
Subsidy, I've said it before, is organized crime.
He's right.
And I cannot allow it to stay a day longer.
Okay? You heard that? That's the point there. That's my target right there. He can no longer allow it to stay a day more or a day longer. That's what he said. And then suddenly now, Tinubu did exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. And these close-minded people who think they know it all, they won't give it that room. Forgetting that their man promised to do exactly, come on, copy the same thing. As a matter of fact, when he announced removal of fuel subsidy the day one, when Tinubu announced the removal of fuel subsidy on that inauguration day, I heard many of disobedience saying that, oh, Tinubu copied their bosses' playbook. Many of them saying it on that very day. That Mohamed Tinubu copied Peter Obi's playbook. Oh, that's Peter Obi's policy. He just copied Peter Obi's policy. Why not make Obi president now? If Obi know the policy, we make this the Baba Arugo, the president, is now copying our president policy. That's what they said. But because some of us already knew that it doesn't really matter when the fuel subsidy is removed, there will be trouble. There will be hardship. So when the hardship follows, guess what they start saying? Oh, you should have given some time, for palliatives, for blah, blah, blah. Look, confused fools. I will show you some of these fools. Watch them. Watch them, OJ. Completely fools. Who sabi nothing about how to solve the problem of Nigeria. And they think they do know a lot. Eh? See them. See them. Eh? See them. They even pack jerry can. That is how much they love the first subsidy. You see them with different jerry can and gallon. Oh, yeah. Obodori. What? Obodori. I'll let you listen to them.
Frustrated youth, are you here?
Yes.
Today we have come here the 1st of June 2023 to read the press statement by Free Nigeria Movement titled Subsidy Removal, Renewed Pain and the Cycle of Indifference. The dictatorial pronouncement on the removal of subsidy by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose ascension to power awaits confirmation by the court, is a credible specimen in the rush.
Do you know why I find it funny? What is wrong with us, man? Why do you have to speak English languages that you don't even understand and you have no clue what it means? Just because you want people to really see you as somebody who really know vocabularies. Why do you throw all these vocabularies that you probably don't know what it freaking means? Just speak in the simple terms that people can understand. As long as you are speaking English language, you don't have to use all these big, unnecessary jargons and vocabularies. Just use simple languages. You're talking to Nigerians, okay? Many of them don't. You know what? That's just by the way. I'll let him roll on.
By his mouthpieces to explain a clear and ambiguous statement to a deeply traumatized citizenry will make a poor reference material in damage control. 3 days later, we are here gasping for meaning, trying to convince
gasping for meaning. Okay, how does that even correlate?
ourselves that the purpose of government is to inspire people, to chart paths to dreams and aspirations, to create a safe, habitable environment for equal access to opportunities and more. While we understand the need to bring the criminal regime of subsidy to a close, we do not understand the urgency of his pronouncement, given that a prior arrangement by the President Muhammadu Buhari administration set the withdrawal of subsidy for June 2023.
Okay, so I'll pause it right there. Okay, never minding all these stupid jargons coming out of his mouth, because very unnecessary, very, very unnecessary. So these youths here, named Free Nigeria Movement, that's what they call themselves. They are fighting for the fuel subsidy to return. This is earlier ago, okay, way before this current protest. This is their reaction to the removal of the fuel subsidy in the first place. Now, when you see them display jerry can, that should tell you that these are fools. Like, you really have to display jerry can to express your anger about fuel subsidy. Because in Nigeria, jerry can for fuel is actually associated with illegal business. That's black market. So when you see average Nigerian youths who call themselves activists fighting for the return of fuel subsidy, okay, and then they are actually promoting illegality. Man, you can't make this shit up. These people are dumb. You know, you're supposed to be activists, okay? Promoting morality, calling government all sorts of names. And then you display jerry cans, kegs, gallons in front of you. Jerry cans represent nothing but black markets. The same problem that has been eating us dry in Nigeria. You know, displaying that alone should tell you that these people are nothing but morons. Okay? Look, I'm not trying to put them down for any reason at all. There's no reason whatsoever to display jerry cans on the table if you are advocating for the return of fuel subsidy. Your voice and maybe some placards and some prints should be enough. And for God's sake, maybe find a picture of a refinery and put it in front of you. Jerry cans, it stands for nothing but illegal. That's illegality all over the place. Jerry cans in Nigeria stands for black market, and black market is illegal. Yeah, I know people, you know, more or less need it because when fuel is scarce, you have to get some fuel, and if it has to be black market, so be it. But displaying it in front of you is completely nonsensical. Okay, so enough about the jerry can. Okay, but the idea that the fuel subsidy should return is completely idiotic. And this is what gets me with these so-called agitators. I'll play it again. This Peter Obey's interview.
Our question has to do with the issue of removal of fuel subsidy. Considering that this current administration has said that by June 2023, your first 100 days in office, how sustainable is subsidy to the Nigerian economy? Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Well done. But I can assure you, it will go immediately. Subsidy, I've said it before, is organized crime. And I cannot allow it to stay a day longer.
Okay. See, even though, because Peter Obi usually forget things that he said in the past, he doesn't have a picture memory, very good memory to remember what he said himself in the past. Now, because he's so swayed by whatever the obedient are clamoring for, and because he's so unstable, he runs from here and there, left to right. He's a man without principle, period. And because he's that, after Tinubu removed the fuel subsidy, and there is some element of hatch, immediately Peter Obi switched from this particular idea of removing it from day one. He started saying something else. Why? Because the man is unstable. He just goes through the wind. Whatever narrative pays for him, whatever narrative is good for him, that's what he tells people. He doesn't have principle. The man with principle, we stop. It doesn't matter. We stick to it. Look, I've told you, oil subsidy is a criminal adventure. That Cabals are taking advantage of Nigeria through it. And it doesn't matter if Tinubu is the one who removed it. I stand by my word earlier that I will remove it day one. That is a man of principle. And when Tinubu was fighting against Jonathan, back then, when Jonathan was about to remove the fuel subsidy, my stand was that no, the fuel subsidy should go. And when Tinubu eventually removed the fuel subsidy, that remains my stand. Even now that there is hardship in Nigeria, that remains my stand. Period. You would listen to some fools telling you that, oh, there is fuel subsidy in America. Is America Nigeria? What kind of crazy thought is that? That you suddenly think all the agencies that are available in America to monitor corruption, to make sure that FBI will pick anybody up. For goodness sake, the former president of the United States is in court for criminal cases. What have I even said? He's been convicted in America for criminal cases. If America can convict their former president on 34 different counts of criminal conviction, I think it is most likely that a sensible human being like me will trust America with fuel subsidy than I would trust Nigeria with fuel subsidy. What is wrong with you guys? Why would you even compare America and put America in the frame when it comes to implementing fuel subsidy? You think Nigeria can implement fuel subsidy exactly the way America is implementing it? That is just moronic. And I listened to some crazy pastor saying that earlier. You know, I just don't have time for looking for his video now because he is irrelevant and insignificant. You're a pastor in the church, preach the good news and stop talking about fuel subsidy in the church. Nonsense. And this is what gets me about these so-called pastors in Nigeria. Because you get paid from some cabal who make money from fuel subsidy and you want to build some new churches, then you started going into the churches and be preaching about a fuel subsidy to return. Give an example that America has fuel subsidy. How can anybody in their right sense compare America's standard of maintaining fuel subsidy to that of Nigeria that is completely shameful? A shambolic system that we practice in Nigeria, that we take advantage of Nigerians and steal our money away. You're calling for fuel subsidy to return. About 90% of the companies, the oil companies that registered to be taking that fuel subsidy in Nigeria, don't have any pipeline, don't have any capital invested in oil. As a matter of fact, some of them don't even have companies, building. Go and look them up. 90% of those companies taking that fuel subsidy money from Nigeria, they don't even have a building. They will cite example of a multinational company in America, multinational company in the United Kingdom. They do not have visible address. But none of these fools who call themselves activists, who call themselves news reporters on main TV platform in Nigeria, Rice News especially, none of these fools can actually invest journalists to pursue and go after all these so-called companies taking that fuel subsidy so that they know where they are and what they really do. Because if they have invested in that, they will know clearly, as OGMness is able to discover, that many of these companies don't exist. They do not exist. It's very easy. Nigerians start up vague companies that doesn't exist. They call it some stupid oil company. And because they have legs here and there within the NNPC, even in some representatives in the House and senators and some executives, they part together and slip in paperwork that doesn't really exist. And your money goes out to these non-existing companies. What do? They share it basically. You think you have fuel subsidy? Fuel subsidy doesn't exist in Nigeria. It doesn't exist. It's a subsidy for the cabal, not for any one of you. Yeah, because we are buying fuel at that time for 100 plus naira. That means it's a subsidy. That means it's a subsidy. Imagine if all that money coming out actually goes for fuel subsidy. It means Nigerians will not even be paying a dime for fuel in the gas station or in the filling station. Yeah, but because you pay some meager amount, then we should just overlook people who are actually ruining the future of our children, children. Just because you pay 100 and something plus in the filling station for fuel. So let's just overlook the idea that they are stealing times 100 of that away into foreign countries. How dumb, how stupid is that? How deluded is that? You think you are fighting the government? No, you don't know what you're doing. You are the one ruining Nigeria's future with all this stupid outcry that you don't know nothing about. Fuel subsidy. Really? And it is funny that you don't even trust your own. Peter Obi clearly tells you that fuel subsidy is just a criminal cabal. You don't trust him. And it doesn't really matter to you anyway, because you are just anti-Tinubu. So it doesn't really matter what the real truth is. It don't matter to you. When Peter Obi told you that he will remove fuel subsidy day one, simply because this is some criminal cabal who uses this to take advantage of stealing Nigeria money, you don't even trust your own man because you are so anti-Tinubu. You are so blinded by your hate of Tinubu. You don't really care what is good for you. You don't care what is good for you. The fuel subsidy is nothing but a curse on Nigerians. Don't let no fool tell you that America has fuel subsidy, and so therefore we should be able to do it in Nigeria. No, those are the same thieves, the same cabals who are clamoring for the return of fuel subsidy. And I am just tired of Nigerians who are foolishly believing all those crap, believing that because somebody, quote and unquote, named himself an activist in the name of Omoyele Sowore or DG Adeyanju, and so therefore it means that he is not corrupt. All of them are being paid by the same cabal to spread stupid narratives into your heads. And for goodness sake, since my following close the Nigerian government, as much as I don't like politicians, and I don't really like Tinubu as much as everybody is crazy for him, but I can definitely see a sign of one person, one president at least, going the right direction. But your impatience, your unreasonable foolishness, your delusion, your idea of so-called hate for Tinubu and the unnecessary worshipping of Peter Obi and Atiku is blinding all of you. 2027 is open to vote for whomever you want. But I still believe if you don't allow this current president to achieve the things he has actually set out to achieve, we are doomed forever. Period. Many a times people think that what is good for them is their problem. I'll give you a basic example. You Nigerians, you are nothing different from the Israelites when God took them out of Egypt. How many times did the Israelites rebel against God's own prophets? How many times? Immediately as they get to the Red Sea and see how, oh, this is sea, and the Egyptians are coming from behind, what do? They rebel right away against Moses. That is God's own prophet, let alone some president that you people don't like. But I'm just saying, I do not care what your feelings are. I do not care what your sentiments are. Nigerian government has never been about your sentiments. Nobody cares. Nobody really cares. Trust me. Nobody cares about your anger. But for the first time, this particular president is going the right direction. And trust me, a house that has been destroyed for almost 5 decades can never be fixed within a year unless you are completely a fool to think that you can actually repair the problem that has been caused for Nigeria for decades within 1 year. In fact, some of you are stupid enough to think that that problem can be fixed within the first week of Tinubu administration. That you have already start complaining, oh, Nigeria is burning, it's upside down, blah, blah, blah. Come on. Come on. If something is as damaged as Nigeria, and if something is as damaged by these cabals who have been working like termites to eat Nigeria from the within for the past 50, 60 years, you suddenly think that Peter Obi have all the miracles to fix that within 1 year, within 2 years, within 4 years. It's going to take Nigeria to come back on track in more than one term. I'm not talking about 1 year. I said term. One term is 4 years. You need Nigeria to get back on track with vigorous activity in more. And for some of you who are clamoring that the administration should reduce cost so one idiot even suggesting that Tinubu should reduce his allowance and salary. How much is the Nigerian president's allowance and salary that you think if he cut it down to zero, suddenly hunger is gone in Nigeria? Come on, man. Stop listening to these fools. Yes, there are costs that needed to be cut. And there are things that we needed to be divided from. But not the cost of administration. All those costs are just meager compared to last time somebody was suggesting, oh, they spent 5 billion on the First Lady's office. Like 5 billion is going to solve Nigerian problem. Really? Really? That is completely insignificant to what we need to actually spend to fix Nigerian problem. The Nigerian money is being wasted through the cabal on the oil subsidy. It's just like something coming out through the nose of a drum. Drum. An administrative fee of running government in Nigeria is a drop. It's just a drop compared to what Nigeria is wasting every day on black markets here and there, on companies that doesn't exist, and yet they are filing for contracts and getting money from government. It's just insignificant compared to how many ghost workers are on the government book. Ghost workers. You know what that means? People who doesn't really exist, and yet they are getting salary from government. I'm talking about regular Nigerians, not government officials now. And yet, recently, the NLC went all the way to get their salary renewed, increased from 30 to 70,000 naira. And I'm telling you right now, that 70,000 naira is just minimum. That's what they call it. Minimum. Minimum. That is if you go into the government of work with level 1. None of them is level 1. Most of them start from level 4. That means an average government worker is receiving nothing less than 80 to 100,000 right now. Do you know how much that comes to when you calculate thousands, hundreds of thousands that are ghost workers collecting Nigerian money without actually doing a single shingbai? Then one fool said, hey, Tinubu, look, Tinubu doesn't have to collect anything. But I am telling you, if Tinubu don't collect shishi, if all the senators don't collect shishi, if all the House of Rep don't collect shishi from Nigeria, that is not enough to solve our hunger problem. That is just insignificant. You are attacking the wrong thing completely. The wrong target. But the cabals who are stealing your money through the subsidy are happy about that. They want you to keep screaming at the top of your lungs, and they're laughing at you. They're laughing at you. You are on the street yelling for the return of oil subsidy. That's what they want. You are now crying that the cost of administration should be reduced. Hey, can reduce the cost of administration. As if to say that is significant. Cost of administration is just a drop on the ocean of what Nigeria wastes through corruption and stealing from all these cabals every now and then. Cost of administration is just a drop on the ocean compared. So, guys, know your government. Know how things really work. Just ordinarily, through the shameful black market of reselling Nigerian naira within Nigeria. Imagine the only country that is striving to develop, that sells its own currency within Nigeria. Just that shameful black market of you selling naira to yourselves. You buy naira with naira. Just that alone, billions of naira is being lost through that. I'm an economist. And this is sometimes money creation in the system is not just through pumping money into the system. It's through transaction. Some of you who are economists out there, please listen carefully. And if you see that I miss any point here, call me out immediately. Transactional exchange of money is part of ways in which money increases in an economy. That means if you borrow $1 and then you use that $1 to buy an item of $1, by the time you sell that item of $1, you will have a profit on it. Maybe you sell it for $1.20. Now, you've just successfully created 20 cents on that transaction of that $1. But now, when you sell naira for profit and get paid with naira, yes, you benefited as individual, but the economy, great loss. The economy itself lost greatly because that profit will be calculated as part of Nigerian system and part of the growth of money, but it doesn't exist because you just sold naira for naira. Well, it takes some very, very good, economic minds to understand what I just said. But I can't explain it any better. We're killing ourselves. We're shooting ourselves in the foot all over the place. Yes, government can cut down the cost of administration. There's nothing wrong in that. But I'm just telling you, that is just a drop in the ocean compared to the amount of money we waste every now and then through black markets of fuel, black market of naira, black market of dollars, black market of all sort of. Look, nothing in Nigeria is legal anymore. Nothing. Wait, why do you think bribery is completely wrong for the economy? And is the order of the day in Nigeria. Is the order of the day. Now, yesterday on this show, we analyzed different kind of amount of billions that this particular government of Tinubu have allocated to states. Delta State collect as much as 43 billion naira each month. River State collect as much as 33 plus billion each month. So far, within 1 year, River State has collected nothing less than 200 billion from these federal governments. But yet, none of you think you have to ask some questions from these governors that live like emperors, that are more or less a dictator in their states, that are more or less, just do and not do in their states. You don't rally and question them. No, because it's easy for you because you know one name, Tinubu. Some of you don't even know the name of the governor in your states. Yes. Ask Omoyele Sowore, who is the governor of Ondo State. Yet that fool wants to become president of Nigeria. He can't even win chairmanship of a local government in his state, Ondo State. I challenged him yesterday to go and run for chairmanship in his local government in Ondo State. I know they will beat him like trash. The same guy. who thinks he won Nigerian presidency. He can't win the local. Look, rather than you guys, you his fans, his followers, to be chastising me, ask him to do the same. He has failed running for the presidency twice. Ask Omoyele Sowore, you his followers, his fans, ask him to go and run for the local government in Ondo State and see if he will be able to win it. What am I even saying? In a small district, in that local government, go and run for councillor. Let's see if maybe he will win it. If I am telling you that nobody knows Sowore in Ondo State, in his locality, and then you suddenly think, oh, all Nigeria knows him and he should be president, what kind of foolery is that? How deluded can you be to believe in that nonsense? Simply because he has a sugar-coated mouth to drill your brains? Your papa and mama don't give you lecture how to wake up from slumber? You don't know how to wake up from slumber? Some of you, when you are kids, they wake you up with water. You flip water in your eyes before you wake up. And yet, when you wake up, you are walking like a drunken dragon. You're walking like drunken dragon around the room. So your papa and your mama, they don't train you how to wake up from slumber. That you are so sleepy, following people like Omoyele Sowore and the Jade Yonju, who lie to you basically in order to cash out. If you really are a true fan of Omoyele Sowore, ask him, demand from him to go back to Ondo State and run for local government post. Tell him to run for councillor, local government chairman, and come back and tell me if he wins his councillorship in that locality. And then suddenly you guys think they cheated. Look, election in Nigeria is not perfect, okay? And it's still being run under the Cabal. But that doesn't mean that people like Omoyele Sowore have exactly the popularity it takes to become president in Nigeria. If Peter Obi, of all people, cannot win the North, who is Sowore? You got your brain now. Come on. Don't let this guy fool you all the time. And don't fool yourself too. A lot of you guys fool yourselves. A lot of things that doesn't exist, you believe in it. And you roll with it. Sure. Look, I'll let Peter be finished.
3 critical development areas is receiving 4.5 trillion. Subsidies 3.6 trillion.
Six.
No, half year.
Oh, like okay.
Half year 3.6. So every full year is about 7 trillion. Which country will invest more in subsidy than education and health and even roads?
You hear that? Do you hear that? It gets me that even you obedient. That is why you let people call you obedient online. Because trust me, if you are really not obedient that they call you online, you should be able to trust this man. Yeah, I don't like him, but he has said some truth, some facts, and yet you still don't trust him. How can you not trust a man and then you say he's your leader? What is wrong with you guys? You let your sentiments eat you up. You let the hate that you have for Tinubu eat you up. That you completely forgot that your own man has actually vowed to remove the fuel subsidy. Day one. Because it's that damaging to Nigeria. It's that damaging. The money that goes out to this cabal, who doesn't have a company that exists. I mean, they literally have a vague company and use it to collect the fuel subsidy. Company that doesn't exist at all. They register it in abroad, connect it with Nigeria registration on papers. And they will claim they have all this pipeline. They will claim they have all these capitals, all the assets. That doesn't exist. That doesn't exist. We've done our findings. None of them are, in fact, 90% of these companies that receive this oil subsidy in Nigeria do not exist. Yet, because they have agents within the NNPC and within the federal government and within the House of Representatives and Senate, they slip paper here and there and get that subsidy out anyhow. They get it anyhow through these vague companies, and they share it among themselves. And some fools now think they are activists. They are not asking for that fuel subsidy to come back. Who is going to benefit that? Hungry man on the street? Hungry man on the street? No. It's the same cabal that are fighting back, using your heads to fight against this government that is basically attempting to fix the problem that they created. Yeah, they are all part of the problem, but at the end of the day, one of them now is standing up to face the cabal. But he doesn't get the support of Nigerians. And my fear is the voice of the people will win. It doesn't matter if the voice is good or not, it will win. Because it's always, look, I don't care if the people is saying the right thing or not. I stand with the people. But right now, the people of Nigerians are being shitty. They follow newsers who doesn't really tell them the real truth. Now, if the voice of Nigerians wins against Tinubu, and for some reason, for some miraculous reason, he resigns, believe it, you have just successfully carry yourself under the same slavery of the Cabal that he is trying to rescue you guys from. Period. Write it down. Kule, today's date is on the 9th. Write it down. That's exactly what will happen. It's unbelievable. Your own man, Peter Obi, tells you everything you need to know about this fuel subsidy. But yet you don't trust him. Simply because the man you hate so bad removes fuel subsidy day one. Even though the man you love so much tells you that he will remove it day one. And gives you all the reason why it should go immediately. It's not benefiting any average Nigerians. This next video will further explain the damages you've been doing to yourself, all the while thinking that fuel subsidy is helping you.
Chairman of the subcommittee 2008 and 2009 on the economic meltdown. I was one of the members, 3 of us governors and some other members with Mr. President as chairman. So I chaired the committee on subsidy and everything about the subsidy regime, and then the scam in the subsidy regime was discovered by my committee. And of course, since then, recommendations were made, which unfortunately were never implemented, and it's very sad. I'm sad to let Nigerians know that from what I saw, we came across situations where subsidy was claimed on pipelines that never existed. You just claim that I would have pumped X amount of, either finished products or crude, maybe from Kaduna, from Wari to Kaduna.
By NNPC? Making this claim?
Of course, who else is doing it?
Oh dear.
Those that pump.
So listen, it's the same NNPC that is now fighting against Dangote Refinery. Okay? The same NNPC that has been stealing your money through fuel subsidy. They are now fighting against one individual who is trying to return refinery back to Nigeria. The same NNPC that has promised refinery in Port Harcourt, in Kaduna, to be restored within 1 year. And we are still waiting after 6 years or more. All the money Buhari spent, I even say, all the money Jonathan gave them to restore the refinery, all the money Buhari gave them to restore the refinery, and all that money that Tinubu has given them so far to restore the refinery. NNPC are still struggling restoring those refineries because they are busy doing what? Cutting away your money, stealing it through the oil subsidy. And now that there is Dangote Refinery who is going to actually shame them all, they can't stop. They can't just help themselves. They prefer importation of finished product of fuel, of oil to Nigeria than Dangote refinery. And this fool right here, look at him. This one right here. Listen to what he's saying.
Aliko Dangote is a shameless guy. He uses Nigerian money to become African richest man ever.
See? This idiot right here, you think he's actually fighting for you. Right. 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 See, and you would think that voice that you listen to on Arise News, Rufai Oseni, will tell you all this. Oh, you think he doesn't know? You think he doesn't know that this is going on with NNPC and all the cabal? Of course, he supported these protests, and he's one of those online asking for return of fuel subsidy. Yeah. Why do you think Lablu is here? Make you know, listen. Very dark man already told you guys. You will learn. And sorry, you might have to learn in the hard way. I'm sorry. I need to make sure I go back to this video.
There was an instance of a pipeline that was supposed to exist between Lagos and Warri. And tons of monies were collected on subsidy on a pipeline that never existed. This is Nigeria for you.
But I thought they were telling us that it is marketers and some other persons who are protecting the fraud. So NNPC is involved.
They are all involved in these things. All of them.
Listen to him. He thought, yeah. Channels, look, I have respect for you guys. You're doing very good, very well. You're doing well. But if I'm in the back room, in the control room, I won't allow him to say something he just said. He thought that this. Who is blind enough not to understand that it's not possible for any individual to steal from Nigeria unless you have Nigerian government involved in it, which is NNPC. You think it is easy to steal Nigerian oil without NNPC knowing about it? You are a big fool if you really believe that any individual, any foreigner can steal from Nigeria and NNPC has no idea about it.
All of them. And I must sadly also report that, you see, Nigeria subsidy, if it's that part of it that is actually goes for the subsidy, we go on subsidizing sub-Saharan Africa and Central Africa, because the bulk of these products are smuggled out of the.
You hear that? You hear that? You hear that? Even after they steal about 90% of that subsidy, the remaining 10%, they still make sure they take those oil to other parts of Africa. They don't sell it to you. I'm telling you, for serious, Nigeria do not need as much as they are paying out to this subsidy to be able to help Nigerian people. They don't. They only need about 30% to 40% of it to help Nigerian people. And as a matter of fact, we will not even be paying for oil or fuel in the filling station if they actually spend as much as 40% of it on Nigerians. But they're not. They still bulk of it, like almost all of it. And the remaining meager part of it that is left, they use it buying the same fuel that they are supposed to serve you with. They take it to other parts of Africa. And yet, some fools in this protest are clamoring for a return of oil subsidy. Yeah, they are crying for you people. Yes, those are the people who really want to help you. They haven't been paid by the cabals. They are for you.
This country. Then who is subsidizing who?
Wait, that report that you spoke about NNPC, all of them being involved, was it submitted to the government?
Of course it was.
Government knows about this?
Of course, yes, they do. And attempts were made. But I'm telling you, it can be very frustrating in Nigeria to implement policies, especially where there are interest and a cabal that exists. It's just similar to what you have as this bunkering issue. Something not, it can be stopped, but you can't stop it. It can be stopped, but the political will to stop it is not there. There are so many interests that are involved there. And that's what is leading Nigeria to where we are today.
And this is what really gets me. That same interest, okay? That same interest that is benefiting from that oil subsidy. They are the same machine within these current protests that is clamoring for the return of the subsidy. And their second option in this particular protest is this: to remove the current administration, a change of regime. Because if Tinubu refuses to return the fuel subsidy, he should leave. He should resign. Yes, they are fighting for the people. All these protest leaders that are shouting for change of regime and return of fuel subsidy, they are fighting for you.
But at a point in time during the Jonathan regime, I know we hardly were pumping up to 1 million barrels a day. And the prices kept crashing. Then how do you manage the economy that is dependent on oil? So the subsidy regime, like I said, should have gone way back in 2012, 2013. Should have gone. Any person that is shouting subsidies are going to affect that, this is a selfish person. A person who is connected to the scammers that are killing this country.
What you've said is very shocking.
So this is my conclusion. Okay, this is my conclusion. That when Tinubu was fighting against Jonathan not to remove the fuel subsidy, personally, I believe he's selfish. Just like this man concluded. So I'm not going to make this all about the Cabal. He was selfish then. Either for political reasons, just to be able to get some vendetta against Jonathan, or because he's connected with this Cabal. And he's been eating money from it still then. That was why he said, no, they should not remove it. Every Nigerian that have told you so far that the fuel subsidy should be returned or should not be removed, they are part of the problem. Period. And it's not only fuel subsidy. In some other day, I will tell you about other subsidies that is still existing in Nigeria's system that is killing you guys. Some of you fools are talking about government should cut down on administrative fee as if that is your problem. There are so many other subsidies here and there that is not going to Nigerian people. That average earners of these subsidies are the same cabals.
You said you were sad to say, but yes, it's important that Nigerians know. And that means that all this while, the previous government and previous governments have been lying to Nigerians about this subsidy matter.
I think so. They didn't have the political will to take the decisions to remove it. All this, they say, IMF is pushing us, IMF is that, World Bank is, that is not the issue. In fact, I have one of my friends who is in the oil industry. We traveled to China with him, one of the presidents of Nigeria. He told me, my brother, because we were discussing the subsidy issue, say, I'm a member of the economic team of Mr. President. And when I went for a meeting, I told him, Mr. President, I called him by the side. I said, Mr. President, please remove this subsidy. He said, we are tired of making money. What? Yes, I'm telling you to God Almighty.
You hear that? You hear that? Do you hear that? This guy is one of the committee who investigates the cabals eating your money. One of the cabals, one of them who maybe suddenly become repentant, become born again, maybe born again Islamist or born again Christian, said, enough, help the people. I'm tired of making money. Well, guess what? The people are now saying, no, give the money back to them. Eponu, Eponu po, nai, Eponu bàjẹ́, eti po ìfun, eti gbemu. You are listening to many of these. I got tired of this. That's why I came online to start this show. Because many, I will be naming them in the future because I really want to challenge all these people with big platforms that lie to Nigerians. I will be naming them in the future, but I don't want to make my show about these fools now. There are a lot of them that you guys have been following blindly. I just got tired. Like, what is going on with us? Kamaparo, Ekponu. And when you're not there, like Ekponu, they love you like that. People are deluded. It's very simple. Delude them the more and make more money. That's what many who have platforms in Nigeria do. Just bamboozle you because you love to be bamboozled. One of the thieves, a repentant one for that matter, said, you know what? Just remove the fuel subsidy. I'm tired. I'm tired of making money through the subsidy. And some fools said they're leading protests.
He said, we are tired of making money, Mr. President. Remove this subsidy. Because he's a patriot and he's seen the scams that are going on there.
Goodness.
And he told me, he's alive today.
Won't your friend then say that they were tired of making money, understanding the scam? So did they tell you, why didn't the president go ahead and remove it? Because if he had that first-hand information, he should have acted, the former president.
I'm sorry, my brother. The president may not have done it because of the entrenched interest. It could even be at the risk of his life. But at least the president of Nigeria is adequately protected. If I were him, I would have beaten the bullet and taken the decision.
So why,
let hell fall, because the poor.
Look, I'm not an advocate of Channels TV, but I think for goodness sake, Nigeria has been blessed with a television channel that endeavors to just do right by Nigerians. But rather than listening to Channels TV, those who call themselves bats, they rather listen to TVC. They rather listen to TVC that is now turning to become a government propaganda. All the good journalists in TVC that are known for years in many newspapers. Many of you who call yourself bats, you turn to TVC instead of actually, staying with people. I'm not saying channels are neutral. Okay, they get swayed here and there, once in a while, but at least they try. They try. I would still give them like 70% of staying in the middle of the pack. But rather than Nigerians listen to them, they love people who can tickle their ears of the lies they want to hear already. You already made up your mind. You just want people to affirm it. That's why people who watch TVC watch TVC. People who watch Arise News watch Arise News. Imagine PDP and LP. You think you want to hear the truth, and then you go to Arise News to listen. Really? 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 You really think if you need the truth, you need to stay within your bubble, your original bubble, that you guys support basically the same thing, attack basically the same thing, and you think that is where you will hear the truth? The truth. There's no way you will be told the truth if you associate yourself with people of similar minds, similar objectives, similar targets, similar goals. Forget truth. You need truth to sink into your heart, and you hate your gut immediately. You feel like you want to throw out. That's the best thing you can do to yourself. You want to hear the truth? The truth is not supposed to be juicy. It's not supposed to be sweet. It's not supposed to be palatable. It's supposed to be bitter. Bitter. So if you are listening to Arise News and you are happy everything you hear, that's why I like Arise News. You are fooling yourself. But you're just fooling yourself. And if you listen to TVC, that's why I like TVC. You are fooling yourself. But don't worry. When you listen to a forum, a topic that analyzes all sides averagely in the same parallel, and it shocks your heart, you hate it, you feel like throwing up, you hit your head on the wall. That's the truth.
Farmer out there is suffering and dying of hunger.
Yeah,
and we are busy feeding on them in collaboration with foreigners.
But the risk of his life may not be tenable because he's very well protected as president.
Yes, so I'm just wondering. Probably, I mean, the whole thing was maybe shrouded in something very cloudy that you cannot understand.
Okay. So I'll stop it right there. Okay? I'll stop it right there. Because I think we've had enough. Aboro, Lanso for Moluabi, Utobadenwe, Adinla, Dodindi. And a wise child only need to listen to half of wisdom. When it gets into his mind, it swells up and becomes whole. I don't need to tell you everything, but the truth is clear. Many of the agitators online, many of the so-called protest agitators, many of the protest leaders are working for the same cabal that has been eating us dry. These guys have been paid just to do their bidding. Or else, why would any protesters be interested in solving hunger with the outcry of a return to subsidy? A sensible activist will think that the better outcry is how you tell this particular current government to channel that subsidy into good things for Nigeria. If the governors of the state are not doing right by the people, even with all the money they are collecting, please have the money. Nobody says you have to give them all that money. Yes, you have to pay them. That's what the Constitution says. But you don't have to give them all the money you are giving them. Half it. If you are giving any state 43 billion per month, give them 10 billion. That's what they get anyway during Buhari. Why should you double it or triple it? And spend the money through federal parastatal that you are sure will be able to accomplish something. You don't have to wait for the state because they won't do it. Many of the PDP governors are trying to sabotage this current president. Well, I don't blame them. That's the same thing the APC governors did to PDP president. Okay? So that's why I'm not blaming them. This is how Nigerian works. It's all politics. And yet, you, regular Nigerian, switch yourself in the middle of it and say, hey, I'm protesting. No, you're not protesting. You know what you're doing. It's all politics. They've hijacked it from day one that it's been announced. Even before it was announced, they are the one who planned it. You are only dancing to their tune. This is cold blue in Nigeria. Yeah, I do dream. It will be that day. There will not be any need for code blue in Nigeria, but that will be a daydream. So, code blue in Nigeria is here to stay. And this is Sala Blue, and we are on OGM News. And as a matter of fact, I'm just going to put a lead on the show today. And that means I will see you in a jail some other time. Before you step away, before you simply step away from that screen or whatever you're using to view me, these Apari Baba, just subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook, follow on Twitter, follow on TikTok, and follow on Instagram. I command you, follow. You know what? I'm just pleading, okay? Just follow us on all these social media, okay? If you are on Quora, if you are on Pinterest, if you are on Blue Sky, we are everywhere. Just follow OGM News Nigeria. OGM News Nigeria for all your news. And don't forget, visit the website ogmnewsng.com. That is OGMNEWSNG.com. Go there for your daily news, where we will not have to lie to you about anything. As a matter of fact, we don't have to share any narratives. We just drop the news and waka. If you want to hear narratives and opinion, come and watch Sala Blue. Okay, this is full of opinion. Okay, but if you want to read the news without nobody else narratives and opinion, just go to ogmnewsng.com. So for some of you who reside in the United States, OGM News, simply ogmnews.com. Okay, and for you football lovers, the Premier League is about to kick off, and just visit OGM News FC for your football news. We give you the details of all the transfer news dropping on a daily basis, minute by minute, hour by hour. Every sequence of report in the Premier League, in the La Liga, and the Italia, Serie A, and the Bundesliga. Look, it's OGMNewsFC.com. Look, man, I'll be good for commercial. We can drop that advert with all the jingle list. Man, I'll go be good for that thing. Anyway, guys, this is Code Blue in Nigeria. This is Sala Blue, and I'm signing off. Now we see you in AJ.
Code Blue. Sala Blue. Where you there now? Where you
The country is in a disaster.
Emergency. The country is in the disaster.
Who they rule this country?
I tell you, stop worshiping the politicians. They're all liars.
Okay. What are you talking about? Which politicians are liars?
All of them. Obi is a liar. Tinubu is corrupt. Atiku is very with you. All of them, okay.
Don't argue with me. This is my show, okay? This is my show. I don't allow anybody to defend my show. This is my show. This is my show, okay? You can get the heck out of this room. This is my show. Get the heck out of this room. I don't handle my...
I am saying it categorically. All of them are liars. All of them are thieves.